chapter for the last 25 years.
Show them those three Greeks.
Today, I would just like to talk a little about the mentoring program and tell you some of the things that it's doing for our young men.
I wanted him to be able to put his eyes on people that's really doing good and big things. So
I'm a single parent household, and I found it important that he gets to interact with men.
How important do you think it is at your age to use a washcloth?
I can't teach him how to be a man. So when I heard about this program, I thought, let's give it a shot and see what happens.
If you're going to get better, then you have to kind of push yourself that much more in order to test your limits and to be progressive about that. And that 30 seconds is going on. I have this thing when I train other people, don't be a 58er. If we're supposed to go for a minute, then you go for 60 seconds. 58, that means you shorted yourself.
Every young person needs a mentor. You need somebody else speaking positive things into your young man's life.
that's why I wanted him to be a part of it, and my nephew as well.
Friendship is essential to the soul. And it is, bro. I'm an old man and I understand exactly what it means. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out. My name is Matt Stevens. I am the chairman of the Fatherhood Initiative and Mentoring Committee for the Corridor 4, that's the state of New Jersey, for the great fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Tonight is our first edition of our 7th season of Q's on the Move. It's a podcast to let the community know what the Omegas are doing, and specifically in the areas of mentoring programs and fatherhood programs. And tonight we have an awesome lineup that's going to be talking with us about the variety of things that are going on throughout the country, and in some cases throughout the world, but with a specific focus on New Jersey. I'd like to introduce my 3 guests. I know one of my guests is running just a little late. His name is Thomas Owens. He is the director of MENTOR Newark, phenomenal program that is helping us tremendously in areas of training and sustainability. Also, our chairman of the International Fatherhood and Mentor Committee, Brother Raymond Bell. And lastly, my great friend from way back, and one of the most brothers that I really look at as one of my mentors, Dr. David Miller. So I start out with Brother Raymond Bell. Brother Bell, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Brother Stevens. How are you?
Oh, Q, I really appreciate you coming out tonight, man. It's snowing a little bit here in Jersey. How's it doing down there where you at?
The snow has stopped, but I think we're going to get some more. It's just a little bit cold outside, but we had a decent melt today.
Oh, that's a good thing, man. Well, I know one of the things I'm really looking for is for some of these kids that I mentor to come shovel this snow, man. Remember back in the day when we had kids that would kind of come do that?
They would do it for free, but now you got to pay them a little bit something.
You got to either pay them or give them a video game or something. But we're going to mentor and we're going to get them out there, man. So fatherhood and mentoring, tell us a little bit first about your position in the fraternity. And then I want to ask you a little bit about what the Fatherhood Initiative and Mentor Program is.
Okay. Thank you again. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. All right. So again, as you stated, I am Raymond Bell, the International Chairman for Fatherhood Initiative and Mentoring. And our aim as a committee is to enhance, educate, engage in closing the gap of father absenteeism in the lives of their children. As mentors, the fraternity understands and assumes that several different roles during a successful mentor-mentee relationship. We do this over what we call our districts. There's a total of 12, which includes Europe, Africa, Asia, South America, Canada, and the work that we're doing is seamless across the world, where we raise awareness, we develop partnerships, increase advocacy for our mentees, and that is within group mentoring and one-to-one mentoring.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, I'm going to come back to you in a minute. I want to kind of move through shortly to kind of look at some of the other guests that I have. I'm not sure if Thomas is on yet. So Darius, when Thomas does come on, just plug him right in. But speaking about worldwide, I wanted to bring on my next guest because he's one of the only brothers that I've ever met in my entire life, Brother Bell, who's actually walking the walk. This brother is doing work all over the world with reading for Black children. And specifically, I'm really, really encouraged by the work that he's doing in Africa, as well as in the United States. So for everybody out there, I want to introduce you to one of my best friends and mentors, Dr. David Miller. Dr. Dave, what's up, brother?
Hey, man, how y'all doing this evening, man?
Man,
real quick, Brother Bell said something about you could just get kids to shovel their snow for free. See, I'm from Baltimore, man. It wasn't no free snow shoveling jumping off, man. That thing was a business for us growing up.
I hear you, dog. I hear you without a doubt. Well, we definitely got to pay the kids, man. We got to definitely pay the kids. Well, Dr. Miller, you're doing a zillion different things, but I really wanted to drill down today on the work that you're doing in the area of reading, because that's so important. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what you're doing? You just got your PhD. Tell us a little bit about that and why you think it's important for parents to get engaged with helping their kids to become better readers.
So great question. Once again, I want to thank you guys and your fraternity. I've had a long-standing relationship with your fraternity, and you guys do some, amazing work all over the world. Whenever I go to Ghana, there's some brothers that are part of your fraternity that kind of hold me down. Even though I'm not a member, they hold me down when I'm in Ghana. And so, again, got a lot of love for the great mentoring work that you guys are doing and the vision that you provide for Black men and boys. And I think that is a critical component of the work, making sure that Black men and boys have a vision that exceeds what they see in hip hop and what they see in terms of mass media. But I think, Matt, to your question or to your point, if we really want to win as a society, reading and writing are fundamentally important as we talk about freedom, equity, equality, liberation. There was a time not too far from where we are now that the U.S. was maybe top 5 in most academic subjects, including, math and science and literacy, reading and writing. I don't know where we are anymore, but we're probably below 25th when we talk about how we fare as a nation as it relates to reading and writing. And so what I find in particularly some of the work that I've done with juveniles, young men who find themselves in a situation of incarceration, both on the juvenile side or even the younger men who are in prison, I see a strong correlation between their lack of access to a world-class education, which would include things like reading and writing. And one of the reasons why I think this needs to be uplifted so critically and so important is because when I grew up, gentlemen, in my home, my parents, my mother and father were my first teachers. And, you weren't going outside to hit the ball field. You weren't going outside to participate in extracurricular activities unless you did some reading. And so growing up, reading was a fundamental part of my journey. I can still remember going to the Enoch Pratt Free Library in Baltimore every other Saturday to check out books. And so I just think that if we really want to win, if we want to dramatically increase the likelihood that Black boys and young men will do well, both academically and socially, reading is so fundamentally important. The last thing that I will say about reading, and I can even go back into my own life. I grew up in West Baltimore. The thing that allowed me to escape West Baltimore, the thing that allowed me to escape when I was being bullied in school, the thing that allowed me to escape from, coming to school the next day and maybe hearing about, one of your friends being killed in middle school or high school, and you would just see it next to him in class, was being able to connect to books, and books allowed me to be able to escape the brutal realities that so many young Black males are faced with. And so again, I think reading has a number of key attributes that can be life-saving. Books saved my life. The autobiography of Malcolm X, saved my life. Getting connected to James Baldwin's work, getting connected to Alice Walker's work, Nikki Giovanni, Ralph Ellison, and I could just go on and on and on, really saved my life as a young man.
Man, that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Well, I know one of the things that we're doing in the fraternity, based upon something that I'm not sure if he started, but as far as I know, in the 2nd District, our district representative, Brother Rico Gales, started a program called Read Across the District. And what that did is it required all of the chapters in the district to partner with different schools and to read with children. In some cases, we would read to kindergartners. In other cases, 3rd graders would kind of read to us. And we did that throughout the 2nd District, as well as in many other districts throughout the country and throughout the world. Brother Bell, I know reading is really important to you and some of the goals that you have for the fraternity. So I'd like you to kind of just touch basically on 2 things. The importance you think that reading can have as it relates to mentoring with the brothers, as well as the role, the role that fathers should play in that particular area.
Thank you. So, great question. The fraternity, and again, based on the what our founders envisioned in terms of self-development and how we move along those sort of ideas with our younger folks. One of the things that we do is assault on the literacy, and we try and do this at the most earliest age as we can. It normally starts in elementary schools, and then from elementary school and they move on to middle school is kind of where the mentoring starts. But with our assault on the literacy, we provide the kids, we give them the access, like you just said, to the books that they otherwise would not have access to. Of course, we know that they can go into a library and check a book out, but with assault on the literacy, not only are we sort of reading to them, they're reading us, but we're giving them books that they can say will be theirs, that if they don't have to check back into the library, there is no timeline to it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And the role that dads play, because I know our committee is mentoring, but it's also fatherhood. Why is it important for fathers, you believe, to get involved with the kids' lives and specifically reading? Why do you think it's important for children to see their fathers reading?
Yeah, Brother Stevens, you're bringing up some real world questions right now where we have met during our fatherhood initiative. We sort of focus on the 15 to 24-year-old man who has just walked himself into fatherhood. We have found through years of doing this that some of the fathers cannot read, so they can't be there with their child to help them along. We have actually had to take fathers through assault on literacy, teaching them how to read so that they can feel present with their child. Now, we know that if you can read, you have access. I mean, if you can read the application, you can complete the application, you can get the job where you can be a provider. It does a couple things. It keeps us from, it helps a father from getting into that pipeline that leads to prison, but staying in the house where he can be a father, be a provider, and then teach their child, particularly a young man, how to be a man.
Oh, great. One of the things that I've been doing with David, we just got back from Lima, Ohio, where we're doing some stuff. And David's probably been 1,000 other places just between then and now, is some of the work that he's doing, man. David is a brilliant brother, and every day he seems to come out with something new. I know he has about 6 children's books right now in circulation. And David, I've asked Darius to put up copies of the book. But as he does, tell us a little bit about some of the books that you have, and then again, with all of the work that you're doing with fathers, why you think it's important for dads to be a part of that. So start with that. Why is it important for dads to be involved with the kids' lives in regards to reading? And then talk to us a little bit about, some of the books that you have out in circulation right now.
So I still believe that Black fathers matter, and that Black fathers provide a vision for the family, regardless of whether or not dad and mom are together, or regardless of whether or not dad and mom, live in the same household. Dads are visionaries. And if you want your child to succeed, being able to read, comprehend, and navigate are critical survival and developmental skills. And the best example I can give you is several years ago, man, I was in Istanbul, which is a predominantly Muslim country. And, I'm moving around, I'm navigating with a couple other folks, had never been to a predominantly Muslim country. I'm trying to understand things that are written on walls and pamphlets that are in Arabic. And I only, the Arabic that I speak is very limited. And so imagine living in a society where you don't understand the written word. And I think that that's what happens to a lot of dads and moms. And then what ends up happening is we fake it until we make it, right? And what ends up happening is, because we're not necessarily comfortable with reading, we don't translate those skills to our children. When I was growing up, when I was a younger father, because my children are adults now, one of the most important rituals that occurred in my household was story time, which I'm sure most of the men who have children can relate to. I don't care how tired I was. I don't care if I was so tired that I could barely put my key in the door and lay down. My children, if they were awake, expected story time, because that was something that we engineered, if you will, in our household, that getting that book, stimulating intellectual curiosity, exposing them to colors, to letters, to numbers, explaining images, is something that my children grew up understanding the significance of. And so that's one of the reasons why, and I love the work that you guys are doing, but I think we got to go deeper, right? I think we got to go deeper. And one of the reasons why we got to go deeper is because of these phones. And so because of cell phones, young folks are not necessarily reading and writing as much as they should. Young folks are not reading and writing and communicating as much as they should, definitely writing. Because a lot of times what they'll do is, like, I remember my son would send me text messages with these wild abbreviations. I'd be like, yo, I have no idea what you're talking about, man.
Correct.
Because I didn't necessarily have the cell phone glossary in my pocket. So I didn't know all of the latest, terms or whatever the case may be. But man, if we want to be a society of people that are winning, we can't get beyond this notion of reading. And last point that I will make, we know that if you look at the National Assessment for Educational Progress, which really tracks literacy and math scores, that Black boys tend to be 2 to 3 grades behind everybody else when it comes to reading. So this is something that we got to zero in on.
Great. Man, that's some phenomenal information that you shared with us. Share with us what you have as it relates to some of the books. Darius just had a list of them up front. I know I've used a tremendous amount of them. I'm specifically starting a mentor program tomorrow at the Benjamin Banneker School in East Orange. And we're going to be using Khalil's Way as a bully prevention book. And we're really excited about that. So talk to us a little bit about, let's just say 4 or 5 of the books that you have that you're most excited about.
So I'm excited about all of them, man. But let me just tell you, man, a book that I think your fraternity will be excited about. I'm doing a book which is sort of an homage to Charles Drew, Dr. Charles Drew. The title of the book is Charlie Drew and His Missing Stethoscope. The lead character is 9 years old. He's a 9-year-old boy, but he's a genius. He's only 9 and he's in his first year of medical school at Howard University. And so I wrote the book, one, because I wanted children to understand the greatness that they come from. How many black children have ever heard of Charles Drew? How many black college students have ever heard of Charles Drew? Second, I wanted to make this young man have an exceptional family, an exceptional background. So Matt and Raymond, he is 9 years old and he's already first year medical student at Howard University. So I wanted to uplift HBCUs because I think a lot of times HBCUs, we don't give HBCUs the credit, that they deserve. I got a PhD from Morgan. My wife got a medical degree from Howard. My son just graduated from FAMU with a MBA in business, and my baby girl is an Aggie. She at North Carolina A&T, and all of us have received an exceptional education. So I integrate that in my children's books. The other thing that you'll find that makes my book somewhat unique is you will always see black fathers represented in my children's books, because historically, not just black fathers, but historically, fathers have been written out of children's books. And definitely when you look at black children's literature, a lot of times you don't see black fathers. So be on the lookout for Charlie Drew and His Missing Stethoscope. I just did a book dedicated to the life and times where the lead character is named after Ida B. Wells. Again, how many black folks in the United States know who Ida B. Wells was, right? So the book is Ida B. the Beekeeper. It's a super fun, cool story about a 9-year-old girl who's an entrepreneur. Her and her family have been raising bees and harvesting honey for over 100 years. And so, and I could go on and on some of the other titles and some of the other books that I've written or that are in production.
Without a doubt, Big David. I know Thomas is just joining us, and I think at the perfect time, because as we all know, all of us are busy, but this brother, man, he's got so much going on right now. He's probably got 10 more Zooms tonight, how busy this brother is. And my last conversation with him, he was just telling me about some phenomenal work that he's doing with HBCUs in the city of Newark. And so, Thomas, you joined us right on time. Whenever you joined us right on time, brother.
Perfect.
Tell us a little bit about Mentor Newark. What is Mentor Newark? And then drill down a little bit about this HBCU piece that you're working on.
Mentor Newark is just, thank you guys. Thank my brothers for allowing me to be on this call. I see Dr. David Miller. I'm proud, so proud of that brother right there. He tells every time I see him, right. But Mentor Newark is about how do we grow mentoring and grow the capacity of mentoring without being repetitive and continue to grow programs? How do we grow the mindset? Like, one thing I'm looking at with how we do professional development is how do we take people out of this, 2 kids and a kid and an adult in the room with a slice of pizza, and they talk about problems for an hour and call it mentoring. How do we break it out of that cell? So what we did last year, we started a piece where kids learned how to curate. So the whole piece was they worked with mentors who taught them how to curate. We brought them an exhibit about Prince, straight out of Minneapolis. They had to learn about Prince. They had to learn all the information. The kids became docents. Ended up in December, the culmination of it was they had over 1,000 guests in the space, and they got a full story in the New York Times about them. And then when the Times came in, they said, is this a museum? I said, no, this is a mentoring program. This is the way we're addressing mentoring. So now what we're ready to do now, we're able to keep this space that we did. We're converting this space. If anybody's seen Stomp the Yard, the last scene, one of the last scenes, he goes into a place called Heritage Hall. And we get to understand, wow, this is what this is really about. So what we're doing in the city of Newark is we're going to create a Heritage Hall. So we're looking out this Saturday, we're having a photo shoot with all the grads from local grads of HBCUs are coming in, do a photo shoot. So along with the Martin Luther Kings and everything else, on the wall are going to be the local people who graduated from HBCUs. The full history of HBCU is going to be all over the wall, a part of UNCF, It's also going to be an active site where young people are going to be encouraged to come to do applications, to find out more about colleges. We're going to have Zooms between them and kids from Newark that are going to school somewhere. So you might have a kid at Tuskegee every Saturday morning. They're coming on, they're Zooming for 15 minutes with kids in Newark. Hey, life is rough. Let me tell you about college life. So they have that. And also we're doing it in a space that's outside of the district. So it's not about me having to work out the district. How do we get a trip down to the museum? No, you can come down to the museum at the school anytime you want to, and you can come all day Saturday because it'll be open. So if you want to come, you become a member of this, and we're calling it, once again, it's going to be the same thing, Heritage House. It's going to have we got church, and we have young people who are part of the creation of this. So then they met today. They're coming up with the ideas. They're going to be the ones giving you the tours. It's going to be their project, but introducing HBCUs in a big way. And to David's point, bringing about, letting people understand what this is really about.
Mm-hmm.
And actually,
oh man,
so
that sounds. I'm sorry, Brother Bill.
Yeah, we're really excited about this. This will be the first time that we think this has been done, definitely on the East Coast anywhere. So UNCF is going to partner. We've got a couple of partners locally, but the goal is to create. A lot of times we do the college tours. The kids remember the hotel and the bus ride because that's where they spend most of their time. We run through the colleges, and often the people, I'm just blazing today. Often the people who we have doing the tours and stuff didn't go to HBCUs. A lot of the guidance counselors, I've heard guidance counselors say stuff like, you can go to HBCU, or you can go to a real college. That person should not be talking to kids about HBCU.
Wow.
Right?
Absolutely.
But what we're going to do is create this space where any young person that's interested can walk in and they can see it in all its glory. So we're working with the fraternities and sororities. We want you guys to hold your events here. We want you to come here. So when kids come there, they see you in all your cuteness. All your alphaness is happening right in front of them. It's on the walls. It's everywhere. So they
you could have just stayed with cuteness, though. You have to bring the other group in.
You had to bring them in.
This right? Alpha's on the move. This is Q's on the move. But I am that you. My brother Thomas is brother from my mother from another brother. He's a groove by groove brother.
Nothing moves better than the groove, though.
Hey, I'm not mad at you, don't. But I wanted to make sure that both of you brothers met my chairman. I report to this brother Bell. And he's doing it big time, literally all over the world. And you two brothers are doing it literally all over the world as well. So, Brother Bell, we're going to make sure when we get off this line that you have a direct contact with both David as well as Thomas, because Mentor, while Thomas runs Mentor Newark, one of the best mentor programs that exists is that I'm familiar with is Mentor Maryland.
Yeah.
Brother Bell, I kind of want to just ask you one question. We're kind of creeping towards the end. We got about 3 minutes left. Is there anything you'd like the audience to know about what IHQ is doing?
Yeah, thank you again. So at our last conclave meeting, we mandated the Fatherhood Initiative program, Fatherhood and Mentoring. Why is that important? Chapters all over the country, all over the world were already doing the mentoring, but for the most part, it was an at-will thing. I mean, there was no mandate. You didn't have to do it, but brothers felt the need to do it because it was something that needed to be done. The biggest push behind making it a mandate was so that we could align all the chapters across the world so that we could go after grant money to help fund our programs. Right now, depending on the chapter, most of our fundraising is for scholarships. It helps support the mentoring programs that we're doing. And, a lot goes back into Fatherhood Initiative as well. But I mean, you can imagine it costs a lot of money to do this. Sometimes the fundraiser is just not enough. But we do know that there are government dollars out there that will absolutely help us do the work that they're asking people to do. We already do it. And so now that we have mandated this program, we have doing our best to align the chapters all across the world. It's easier now to write the grants where we are competing with, big brothers, big sisters, the 4-H, Boys and Girls Club now. They're doing the same work that we're doing. Now we're just trying our best to ask for that same dollars in an application type of way, a more uniform way. And hopefully we'll get some of these dollars to help us support the programs that we're doing. We put out a newsletter every quarter that tells the story of all the work that we're doing across the world, and it is literally across the world. So not only will you see something from Mississippi, California, you see something from Africa, from Ghana, you see something from China or Germany or South America, even Canada. And that's where we sort of making our stands, where we're doing all that we can to communicate our values, communicate the importance of mentoring, and more importantly, the importance of being a father.
Sounds great, man. We got about 1 minute left. David, you and I are going to be speaking at the East Orange Family Success Center next week, doing a workshop called Raising Boys. And I know you speak a lot about the fraternity kind of going after money. That is a big thing that you have been successful in doing. So we're really looking forward to tapping into you as it relates to your resources and helping us to get some of that money. I want to kind of end with talk a little bit just about what you're looking forward to as it relates to our session next Friday with the East Orange Family Success Center and the Raising Boys seminar.
No, and I'll be super quick because I know time is fleeting. I mean, it's just gonna be like a Friday night, chat and chew, connect families to resources. And at the end of the day, even if your child has the best support system, children need access to other mentors. And so our goal is to convene families at the East Orange Family Support Center next Friday to just have a conversation, man, about mentoring and give people some tangible resources.
Sounds great. Well, brothers, we could be here all night long.
All night.
We got some great stuff to give the people. We get 30 minutes. We're just a little bit over time. I want to thank Darius for giving us a little bit of extra time to speak tonight. And I just want to ask everybody out there that's watching us tonight to please support the Brothers of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Come out to our events, help us with the fundraising, and help us because mentoring actually works. I want to thank my guests, Dr. David Miller, Brother Raymond Bell, and Thomas Owens for coming out and helping us today. Next month, we'll be working with the Brothers of Delta Upsilon chapter in Trenton, New Jersey, and the Fathers Center of New Jersey. So looking forward to next month. Brothers, thanks so much for coming out tonight, and God bless.
It's been a pleasure. Take care.
If you mentor me.
If you mentor me.
If you are there for me.
I will miss fewer days of school.
If you mentor me.
If you mentor me.
If you listen. If you mentor me.
I'll be 55% more likely to go to college.
If you mentor me. Mentor me.
If you mentor me.
If you mentor me.
I'll be more likely to volunteer in my community.
If you mentor, I'm less likely to start using drugs.
I'll be 81% more likely to play sports.
I will be empowered.
I'll have a more equal chance to realize my dream. If you listen.
I will have healthier relationships.
If you mentor me.
Mentor me. If you are there for me. One day, I'll become a mentor too. Become a mentor in real life.
Brothers, thanks so much for everything. Stay on for a second. Darius, we're out.